Jumping right in. Today's request comes from the YouTube comments. It's pretty straightforward. How do you make people small and then normal again? They want to make a fun world for their friends. That sounds awesome. I've been wanting to cover this for a while, so we're going to do the same thing. If you look in the description of the video, there's a link to the All the Things document. Here it is. And in the All Things document, we need to figure out how to figure this out. And I don't know that this one's easy because if you're looking for like making people small, you're gonna have a hard time finding it. So you kind of have to know more about all the things, which is where the all the things summary would come into play. And so you could scroll through this, reading about all the different options, and then just trying to figure out what someone might have used. When you get into Horizon APIs, you'll find a section in here called Player, and under Player, we'll find player.avatar scale. There it is. And if we click more details, we're going to be able to get to here where it says play. Oh, right. I was like, that says it's me. This is not me. This is one. Get or set the scale of the player's avatar. Change the scale size of the player up or down. Accepts values between 0.05 and 50. The scaling happens with a 1-frame delay. This needs to be called from a local script owned by the player. And there's even a link here if you'd like to see some example code from the Meta Learn website. And here's an example. I don't feel that I need an example because it's really just this one line of code. Player.avatarscale.set. It does have to be on a local script, which does make this really difficult. You'll also notice to the left here, there is an actual example. And ideally, over time, there's going to be more examples filled out, and there will be more links filled out. So it's a working document. We're working on it. We'll tell you more tomorrow in the live stream. But yeah, thank you so much for asking this question. I love BFDI, BFDIY. Would love to know what that means, or maybe not. So thank you for asking it. What a great question. We're going to jump right into Horizon now, into the desktop editor, and get started. So I don't really want to create too many new worlds. I've got one that I've been using for this kind of series or playlist that we're in, the Think Like a Programmer one. So let's go there. And ideally today we're going to not only give this script away on our Vidyuu Assets, but we'll also drop this into the public asset library so you can just go grab it and use it right away. All right, here we are, loading in. And you might remember if you joined us for yesterday's video, or if you've seen the one on, what did we cover yesterday? World streaming. It was mind-boggling at the end. I was quite shocked. So we're going to try something here and see if it could be this simple. Also, there's a brand new way that I just heard about recently to create a script. So check this out. We're going to go to Build, go to Gizmos, and pull out a trigger because we want when a player enters the trigger to cause this player's avatar to change scale. And if you go down here to Attach Script, there's actually an option at the bottom that says New Trigger Script. And this is going to set it up with all the default trigger stuff. So if we click that, we need to give it a name, which we're going to call resize avatar underscore entity, and press create and attach. And there it goes. I'm not sure if there's a best practices for opening it from here. Is there 3 dots open? Doesn't appear to be. Oh, maybe this edit script? Does that open up VS Code? It does. Nice. So there's a lot more tools down there. Avatar scale is another fun one that I actually haven't touched because it just came out, what, a month and a half, 2 months ago? So I'm very excited to get to play with this. I spent too much time traveling this year. There's so many new features. Actually, they've just been dropping feature after feature after feature. So keep your questions and comments coming with anything you guys would like to see. Hopefully this document will help as we keep adding more and more information to it. And of course, the Vidyuu Discord. I'm going to constantly be telling you because it's such a great place to ask for help. And there's so many awesome people there answering questions, myself included, and love for you to be there. All right, jumping back over here into our code, we can see that this did set it up default, and it set it up the way I like it. Are you kidding me? You guys have done me such a solid. I don't know who set this up, but thank you so much. So we can see that it's got the imports up on the top, explicitly imported, which is the way that I like. We can see the name of the class is here. This is what makes the script attachable to triggers. We have properties definition. There's nothing currently set on the properties. I just want to dive into this, but let's keep reading. Pre-start is where we're connecting events for player enter trigger, player exit trigger. They're connected to the local on-player enter trigger and on-player enter trigger on entity enter. Ah, they're just doing player enter and entity enter. That is interesting. It's definitely not my default player enter trigger script, but it's got stuff in here. We can just delete what we don't want. We're gonna be tracking players, not entities, so we can just delete that. And we can delete this. And notably, this is the wrong formatting. I'm assuming that this is just what is set up to mirror these. But yeah, this should have been lowercase. And the way that I like to write this personally is to remove the on and just say player enter trigger. I just find it's a little more readable. We then do have to update this one to be player enter trigger as well. And here we can see they've even got a link to an example. How cool. Anyway, that's a really great way to make, they've even got some example code running here. Great way to make a script. We do need a player exit trigger. No, we don't. Not today, we don't. But anyway, we got our player enter trigger. That's fantastic. And now what we want to do is just dummy check this, because my understanding is it has to run on a local script. So this shouldn't work. So we type player dot avatar scale dot set to, and we're going to type in 2. So we double the scale of the player. And just hovering over here to see if there's anything. If I hover over avatar scale, does it say anything about needing to be local? The scaling happens with a 1 frame delay. This event demonstrates. It doesn't, but I'm pretty sure it has to be. Everyone has told me it has to be. But that's why we try these things. So the script is now set up. Now here in Horizon, we do need to identify where this is. And so we're going to go to our Shapes tab, pull out the 10 by 10 plane. And then we're going to change the 10 by 10 plane to be 0.1, 0.1, 0.1. So now it's a 1 meter by 1 meter. We can then change this to be, since it makes you bigger, I wonder what the color of the cookie was in Alice in Wonderland. We'll go with this lime green to make you bigger. And then let's copy the position of the trigger. Copy position and paste onto here. Perfect. And then we can move that down just a hair so it's closer to the ground. Perfect. Now with that set up, I think we should do one more thing before we try this out, which is under the properties panel, we should add a property for what the scale is. And so we'd say scale, colon, curly braces, type, colon, prop types, dot number, comma, default. And we set our default to, let's make it 1, so it sets you back to your base scale. And if you haven't done this a few times yet, it really is just kind of a remember this is the format. Default is an option. You don't have to do that. It would default to 0 if you didn't provide one. Prop types is a list of all the options you can have on the properties panel. This is the name that it gets. And then right here on 2, we can replace 2 with props.scale. So this .props gives us access to the properties, and then .scale, and control save. Now what that means we can do is we can have 3 of these. So let's go ahead and control D, slide that over, control D, slide that over, and then we can make these all different. So green will be big. This one is going to be our default, which will be blue. And if we click on the trigger, we can see it set to 1. We'll set this one to 2 for big. And then this one over here will set to be small, which will do 0.05 or 0.5, so half size. And then we'll click on here and change the color to be, I'm thinking, what's a good color for small? Yeah, like a pink. A pinky purple. Okie doke. Now, pretty sure this isn't going to work, but what if it does? That'd be insane. So we walk on over, step on the trigger. Wait, it does? Everyone telling me you had to use local scripts. What? That's so cool. Oh my gosh, look at that. We're just totally getting resized. Okay, wow, that was way easier than I could have ever possibly imagined. Do we end there? Yeah, I guess we do, because more people will watch a 10-minute video. So have fun with that. For reference, I'm about to go work on this some more, but in a different world where I have a raycast set up, and I'm going to use that raycast to allow the user to click and determine their height. So I'm going to put in like an image that has little markers on it. You know, say like 6 foot, 7 foot. Probably shouldn't use feet because, you know, most of the world doesn't use feet. We'll probably use meters. Or maybe we won't have any indicator, it'll just be lines. But then you click on the line and it's going to calculate the distance to the ground. And so it'll just say, how far am I away from the ground? And so wherever the user clicks is how tall we're going to make them. Should be fun. Check it out. It'll be in Power Wash in our update probably in 2 or 3 weeks when we launch it. So, whew, if you guys want to give that a shot, that would be a fun one. Doing the raycasting is really difficult though, which is why I'm not including it in this tutorial, because it's going to take like an hour. It would take an hour just to show you that little part, and I already have it set up, so sorry. If you want to see more on raycast clicking and things, leave a comment, and maybe I'll make a tutorial on that specifically. All right, I will see you in the next one. Bye! I can't believe how easy that was. What? Oh, we gotta look at the code. And we got, boom, code. I'm gonna paste that into the, I'm gonna paste that into the assets. So that'll be in the Vidyuu Assets Google Drive, and I'm gonna put it into the public asset library. So you'll have that there as well. Cool beans, bye!